Do you think the Edmund Fitzgerald was the biggest ship ever to cross the Great Lakes? Before we begin, there is no baggage on this trip. Take all the frustrations, embarrassment, anger, sadness, and let them go. Take a deep breath and exhale. A slow, steady breath. Keep going. Go until you can feel it in your stomach. Then take in a new breath. Let the clean air come in. Think of it as taking the bad feelings of the day and replacing it with a clear mind. There you go. Now back to our journey. She wasn't not even close. There's an elite class of vessels that surpass her length by hundreds of feet. To ship watchers and maritime enthusiasts, these giants are known as the 1,000-footers. Massive bulk carriers between 1,000 and 1,013.5 feet long that haul iron ore, coal, limestone, grain, and more through the inland seas. Right now, as you listen, 13 of these 1,000-footers are active in the Great Lakes. Some moving cargo, others resting in port. Let's take a look at where they have been not long ago and what makes each one unique. The Paul R. Tregurtha, 1,013 feet, 6 inches of steel, currently transiting Lake Superior. Built by the American Shipbuilding Company and launched on February 4th, 1981, she's the largest vessel on the Great Lakes and proudly wears the unofficial title Queen of the Lakes. Not long ago, she was loaded with taconite pellets and headed out for Gary, Indiana. She is now safely docked in Lake Erie. The James R. Barker, at 1,004 feet, she's anchored in Whitefish Bay, waiting for the Sioux Locks to open. Built by the American Shipbuilding Company and launched August 7th, 1976. She now works for the Interlake Steamship Company. She carried iron ore from Two Harbors, Minnesota, bound for steel mills farther south. She is a self-discharging bulk carrier, so the enormous amounts of iron ore will not be too much for her strength. Her carrying capacity is over 60,000 tons, and her engines can produce up to 16,000 horsepower. Whitefish Bay is in Lake Michigan. The Indiana Harbor sent another 1,000-footer, and by that I mean she is exactly 1,000 feet. Built by Bay Shipbuilding Company and launched March 19th, 1979. Recently, she was laden with white limestone from Calcite, Michigan. She has a carrying capacity of 89,900 tons, and her engines can produce over 14,000 horsepower. She is currently resting in Lake Superior. You could argue that she defies expectations by being much farther north than any harbor in Indiana. The Mesabi Miner diked a 1,004 feet of freighter, waiting out the cold winter in Lake Superior. Built for Interlake and launched June 11th, 1977. One of her recent jobs was pushing coal towards Cleveland. She can carry over 60,000 tons, and her engines can put out 16,000 horsepower. The Edwin H. Gott, 1,004 feet long, built by Bay Shipbuilding Company and launched July 19th, 1979, is returned north empty after delivering last cycle's cargo. She works for the Great Lakes Fleet. She can carry over 70,000 tons, and her engines can put out over 19,000 horsepower. The Walter J. McCarthy Jr., 1,000 feet of bulk power. She was loading grain in Superior, Wisconsin, but is resting on port in Lake Erie. Built by Bay Shipbuilding Company and launched July 12th, 1977. She has a carrying capacity of over 80,000 tons, and her engines put out a power of 14,000 horsepower. In the lower lakes, The Presque Isle is one of the 1,000 footers because she is a tugboat as well as a freighter. Launched December 16, 1973 for Great Lakes Fleet. Her status has made her elusive in the ship finding services, so I do not know where she currently is. She can carry 57,000 tons, and her engines can put out over 14,000 horsepower. She was a very ambitious project. Adjusted for inflation, her construction would cost over $200 million. It's a good thing she is still going strong after 50 years. The Burns Harbor. Now we go to one of the younger ships out in the Great Lakes. 1,000 feet, built by Bay Shipbuilding Company and launched in 1980. She can carry around 80,000 tons, and her engines can put out over 14,000 horsepower. She works for the American Steamship Company. She is currently roughing the cold winter in port on Lake Superior. The Edgar B. Speer, 1,004 feet, and built by the American Shipbuilding Company, launched June 4th, 1980, anchored off Thunder Bay, waiting on weather. The Edgar B. Speer works for the Great Lakes Fleet. She can carry over 73,000 tons, and her engines have an output of over 19,000 horsepower. The Stewart J. Cort. The Stewart Cort was the first 1,000-footer on the Great Lakes, measuring a length of exactly 1,000 feet. The American Integrity, a 1,000-footer, built by Bay Shipbuilding Company and launched June 8, 1978. She works for the American Steamship Company and has a carrying capacity of over 80,000 tons, and her engines can put out 14,000 horsepower. The American Century, 1,004 feet long, and also built by Bay Shipbuilding Company, launched November 8th, 1980. She is currently in maintenance at the Sulaks. She currently works for the American Steamship Company. She has a carrying capacity of 62,000 tons, and her engines put out 16,000 horsepower. The American Spirit launched July 15, 1978, and works for the American Steamship Company. She measures 1,004 feet in length and has a carrying capacity of 62,000 tons and can put out a strength of 16,000 horsepower. She is currently waiting for the spring in Lake Erie. 13 colossal vessels, 13,000 footers. All are at rest in port. All share a legacy of engineering. Built between the early 1970s and 1981 by the Great American Yards in Lorain, Toledo, and Sturgeon Bay, and all continue to ply the inland seas that connect industry across the Midwest. Thank you for listening. Sleep well.